my mind, I was able to think and process. If I let him get back up, he's going to get back up. I was like, let me finish this right now. And I caught him with that left hook, and then I caught him again with that right hook just to make sure the job was done, because I was calculating his hands wasn't touching the ground and his knees weren't touching the ground, but I know he was still going down. To make sure he wasn't getting back up, I had to let those last two off, man.
Combat Sports Report. Only on SportsGrid.
He's just only 2,300 points behind. So even if he does win at Memphis, he's still going to be behind Scottie Scheffler in the points by 300. So why? I mean, I want Scottie Scheffler to show up in Memphis, but does he need to? If Rory's not showing up and the third place guy, even if he wins, isn't going to pass him?
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The vibes are high. It's the early line. It is a football Thursday here, which we will welcome certainly. And I guess I'm assuming, Joe, we got Thursday night football tonight. I didn't look at the preseason schedule, but I want to assume it probably continues on Thursday night, at least to start. And then Thursdays and Thursdays and Thursdays and Thursdays and Thursdays and Thursdays after that. So we talk about so many, hey, NFL football on a Sunday. I don't think we have too many non-Thursday football days until we get to basically the playoffs next year. That's got to cheer you up, Joe. Come on.
Yeah. Welcome to August and welcome to preseason football. And in just a couple of more weeks, week 0 of the college football season will take center stage as well, Donnie.
Yeah, I mean, come on. In the NFL, we don't do week 0 in the NFL, right? Why do we do week 0 in college football? Can we have that conversation? It can't be called week 1. Point. There's something against that. What's the point of a week 0?
Yeah, it's a primer to get folks real excited for week 1. I guess only a lot of these teams this go around in college football. Week 0 means whether or not you drop out of the top 5 or top 10, because my goodness, there are some monster games coming up in week 0.
By the way, the old week 0 as it used to be, you used to watch and say, well, you could have a 0 of a season. Like Miami and Florida State would tee it up on Labor Day and be like, okay, loser goes home for the season. Doesn't matter what you do in the next 10 games. So at least you don't have that anymore. But now's the time in the show, Joe, that we like to ask the public their thoughts in Fade the Public. Questions were asked this morning, and I don't believe it. If you go to our @SportsGrid account on X and social media, we asked the question this morning with football back in our lives. The question was, what do you plan to do with tonight's NFL Hall of Fame game? We gave you 3 choices here that you can respond to. 1, will you watch it? 2, will watch and bet it. And 3, won't watch it all. You got to be kidding me. It's either haters in the room or bots are voting on this. Name me one person who is a football fan, which all of us are football fans, that will not tune into this game tonight, at least for a couple minutes to watch some plays. Won't watch it means you are not tuning in. For a SportsGrid network to put out a tweet to sports fans that the NFL is the most popular sport in the United States and they won't watch this game as the first preseason game, Joe, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it.
I'm not buying it either. Now, listen, will you sit down like it's a Sunday in week 6 and watch a game from the opening kick to the end? No. But there is no way you're telling me that at some point here tonight, any point in the night, the remote, you're going right over that game. You are going to stop surfing and you are going to just land on this game and watch a couple of minutes of it one way or the other. Football fans who say, nah, I don't watch the preseason. You're lying. You are absolutely going to watch part of this game here tonight.
And by the way, a lot of, operators in the space, right? The FanDuels, the DraftKings, the Bet365s, BetMGM, whoever you're going with here, you do have a lot of different wagers that you can now make on early preseason games. It used to be you get the side, you get the money line, you get the total, and absolutely nothing else. There are some ways that you can bet it and have some fun with some intrigue, but no way, shape, or form. I am a preseason football hater for the most part, and I'll do the same thing tonight. I'll turn on the game, watch for a couple plays, and be like, this does stink. And whether I leave it on or go watch a movie, I don't know. Now, granted, when it's the Philadelphia Eagles or whatever team that you like out there, the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, whoever it might be, you'll watch more of those individual preseason games than you do a national one like you're getting tonight. Yeah. But I just don't buy it. We're so starved for football, and people are saying they're not watching it. And not a 17% vote, Joe, a 15% vote. Over 50% said we won't watch it, and I'm not buying it here. Now, 28% did say they are going to watch it. 17% said they will watch it and bet it. Now, some of us like to get a little bit of a degenerate bet out there. Hey, it doesn't have to be your mortgage payment that you're making just to have some fun. But I think the landscape here is way too many haters waking up early in the morning voting they're not watching when their television at one point tonight, Joe, will be on this football game. No doubt about it. Stop it.
Absolutely. And here's just another nugget. By the way, if you're not planning on watching, if you're part of that percentage of group that's like, I'm not watching this, the good news is you can just join us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and we can break down the entire game for you and give you everything that you need to know that you missed there, Donnie. How's that for a tease?
Yeah, and how about this for another tease? No. I'm invested in the Major League Baseball card tonight. Well, there's 2 games tonight. That's it. One in the afternoon, one at 7 o'clock, and one at 9 o'clock. So you're telling me you're watching the one Major League Baseball game on tonight to get your feel. You're watching this game. You're all liars out here in the marketplace. But by the way, if we look at the marketplace, it is roughly a coin pick or a coin toss at this point. Minus 135, pick-em type game, plus 1.5 on the number. Favorite to the Detroit Lions, a total of 32.5. Usually in the preseason, Joe, it's always like we look at that 32.5 and be like, it's not going over. I'm telling you, I just got a feeling that we're not kicking field goals tonight. We're going for it on 4th down, a couple mobile quarterbacks. We can't see 23-10. 23-10. You have a victory tonight.
Yeah, listen, it's both coaches here are going to tell you a lot about what the plans are, and they're going to do that in preseason football, by the way, moving forward. Just pay attention to what the coaches are saying, and they pretty much give you an idea of who's going to be playing and what the motivation is behind it here. I think offensively, I think you're going to get a Charger team that likely is going to run the ball a lot because they have more depth and guys in the running back room. And I think you're going to get a Detroit team that's going to throw the ball a lot more because they've got way more wide receivers they got to sift through, and a new OC too, which is also going to be interesting. So would not shock me, Donnie, if we get a few more points here than most people think we're going to get. I don't think this is just going to be 3 and out all night in any way, shape, or form with these teams.
Yeah, we have the SportsGrid poll here. Of course, Fade the Public. We do it every single day, Monday through Friday, just to get the people's opinion out here. And tomorrow we should probably ask, did you watch last night's NFL Hall of Fame game? Did you win money on that game? Did you turn it off after 5 plays? Because maybe we should include, we'll watch it, watch a little bit of it. Because I think people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to say I'm going to watch it, but I might tune into it. No, that means you're watching it on this poll. No way. No, there's no way. Now it's getting heated. I shouldn't be heated up over a poll that I'm not voting on for the majority. I have 1 vote in that. We'll watch it and bet it because I do have a slight little angle that I think's fun that we'll go over at the end of the show when we get our buy best picks in. But the won't watch it crowd, no. What else would they not watch? If the topic was changing, night number 1, Eagles, Cowboys, not watching it. Why wouldn't you watch tonight? Should be the better question.
There is zero reason for you not to watch here tonight, because there is literally nothing else worth watching here on this, the final day of July. Get yourself excited. Get ready to go. I'm looking very forward to getting the whistles. And that's the other thing. What are we getting from the refs this year here, Donnie? Also going to be an interesting thing to monitor is the new rules, guys, new flags, new rules every year. We're going to have to get you accustomed to seeing a couple of different things they may be calling.
More importantly, Joe, what are we getting out of the field tonight? It wasn't too long ago we tuned into, I think it was on Sunday nights back then. Oh, no, the field doesn't have a good paint job on it. It's too crazy out here. It's warm weather, and it's going to stick to our shoes. We've seen that before. It's actually led to class action lawsuits and people suing each other left and right. I paid a flight to get out there. NFL, you owe me my money back. So it certainly does still get wild there in the NFL landscape, even if it is the opening preseason game. We got a lot more to talk to him. How about coming up in the next segment here? Cam Stewart is going to drop by. We'll see if he had any angles tonight for that Detroit Lions Los Angeles Chargers game, and also what he thinks about the Major League Baseball trade deadline as well. Cam coming on board next on the early line.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that wrist. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Right back at it here on the early line. It is a Thursday. It's a football Thursday. My goodness, here, as we said the entire show, and basically for the last 3 months, we can't wait for football to get here. Football is here. You know who else is here? It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri, and Cam Stewart joins us here on the early line to have some fun. Cam, up bright and early. Thank you for joining us today.
I am. Little sleep. I told Joe it's Australian horse racing every single night. Grab a couple hours and come on with you guys. And what? I'm an equal opportunity gambler. I don't care about the men's, Scottish Open Championship. We got women too. So I was watching the women's, trying to find an edge there. So far the scores are low. The winds are not blowing in Wales. So you know me, Donnie. If it moves, I'm betting on it.
I'm going to ask you a football question in just a moment here. But if we have horse racing in Australia, they say, oh, you flush the toilet, it goes the opposite way. Do the horses run the opposite way in Australia? Is that true as well?
That's a myth, Donnie. It depends on what region of Australia. Sometimes they run normal in North America, and other times they go the other way. It's crazy, too. Sometimes I'm thinking, wow, it's hot, and they're all wintry in the summer. Everything's backwards in Australia, but some tracks actually run. You're right, like the Simpsons episode. The water goes the other way down the toilet. But I'll tell you, these guys actually run it like Woodbine, Saratoga Aqueduct. They run normally, too. A couple tracks go the other way. Australia is a very different place, Donnie. I see horses go from 20-1 to like 2-1 by post time, too. They got some weird stuff going on. You talk about rigging? These guys, yeah, it's a racket down there, but it's fun.
Late night action there, certainly, and also some money on the run today. The Los Angeles Chargers and the Detroit Lions in the Hall of Fame game tonight, Cam, Thursday night. We take a look at that odds board. It's a minus 135 favorite here for the Lions, as we're calling it like baseball. Why? It's roughly a pick 'em. A minus 1.5 point spread towards the Lions, and a total of 32.5. Any action tonight, or just happy, Cam, to see football back on the television here in the States?
I'm thrilled, Donnie, and I'm looking for an edge. And usually we look to, the coaches' records and quarterback depth, and it's pretty equal right now. Dan Campbell, 5-7 in the preseason, and Jim Harbaugh, not bad at 11-8, not as good as his brother, but still winning in a small sample size. Donnie, I'm looking at the Chargers, thinking, you think the Detroit's at home, they want to win for their fans. After last year's debacle versus the Washington Commanders, Detroit just wants to, get through this thing. I think Campbell understands. He'll go for a lot of fourth downs during the regular season, but I have a small edge to the Chargers in this game. It's really, really hard to take it over, especially as we know Jim is a pretty conservative guy. But with these quarterbacks on the depth chart, you got, Hooker and Allen. A lot of these quarterbacks could be mistake prone, but I lean under 32.5, Donnie. It's hard to take those overs in this games. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I have a lean to the road team in a very, very close game.
Well, let me ask you, Cam, because they just teed it off here as the PGA Tour continues to head towards the FedEx Cup. A lot of guys still trying to qualify and get enough points to be playing for a whole lot of money. I believe we're at the Wyndham here, right, in North Carolina. And what are we looking at here today? Who you like in this tournament?
Oh, Joe, great question. I like a lot of guys in this tournament, and it's a straight balls paradise, right? The Wyndham, you got to keep it in play. You got to get that hot putter. And let's remember, guys, after this week, this is the last tournament before the FedEx Cup playoffs. Top 70 makes it in. It used to be the 125 if you had a card you played. The PGA Tour is like, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to take better. We want better fields, top 70. Watch out for Nikolai Højgaard from Denmark and Christian Bezuidenhout. Those are two internationals that I really, really like this week. Bezuidenhout was 80-1 and Højgaard was 66. I know Cam Stewart liked them as well. Those are guys I think can really play well on a tight track where iron play and driving off the tee is very, very important. If you're looking for a couple Americans, Jake Knapp, my afternoon nap almost got it done last week, Joe, and as you know, just fell short last week to Kitayama. He's 45-1, and Lucas Glover is very, very dangerous in this tournament, 35. He's got a great track record in North Carolina. So those are guys that I'm looking at right now, and I also have a matchup bet for all you degenerates out there that want some morning action because the Australian ponies are done.
Yes.
Nikolai Højgaard, we got Højgaard over Sunjayem plus 110 in an early 18-hole matchup bet.
Yeah, just because we have the four majors down the hatch so far, you get the FedEx Championships coming up, and more importantly, the Ryder Cup coming up in late September. So some good things on the horizon. Cam's certainly going to keep you involved with all that golf talk. But we do have Major League Baseball here tonight. There's only 3 games, Cam. The trade deadline is 6 p.m. Some big names already on the move. But before we get into who can win the World Series, what are you thinking about the trade deadline, some of the moves that have made, and also a team that you might be keeping an eye on here at the trade deadline?
Yeah, well, the Toronto Blue Jays already made their move, and it already paid off, Donnie, as you saw, picking up the reliever, and that 9-8 game versus Baltimore was nuts going against the old team. And I'm thinking, wow, this is something that they need. They need more middle relief. There's injuries with this team, and they have to hold off the Yankees. The Red Sox just picked up Steven Matz. I'm not sure how important that move is. Maybe a little bit of a depth move. Suarez to the Mariners. I like what they're doing right now. I lean that way tonight, but I don't like the 50, 60 cents of juice on Seattle tonight. Maybe the over with Tampa Bay and the Yankees with Stroman on the hill. That's something that I'm looking at. But the trade deadline, don't be shocked. The Blue Jays, they need to make moves. Let's remember, Donnie and Joe, Rogers Communications owns this team. They got a lot of bread. fourth highest payroll right now, and they have to make a move. The fans very disappointed after blowing an 8-1 lead the last time in the postseason versus the Seattle Mariners. There's high expectations now that they've done well. They have some injuries to a lot of people on this team right now, a little bit of a bumpy patch. They needed that win versus Baltimore because they were riding a skid. So, guys, I'm telling you, watch out for these guys before 6 p.m. I think more moves are happening.
Ooh, you want tell me about your Seattle Mariners, Cam? You got to be jumping up and down. They're going out and making deals right now.
Yeah, you talked about it when we did the show, Joe. Remember them live at 6-1 back in the time when there were a lot of games back. It's a ticket in my back pocket. It's still going to be hard to do, but I like what they're going for. When you have a pitching rotation, Wu, Kirby, all the studs that they have there, you got to go out and do it. That's the whole thing with Seattle. Can you get some bats? And that's what they need. So I like the Mariners. They're usually a very tight, cheap organization, but they're trying to make a little bit of a move. And I think a lot of teams are volatile. So I'm happy with what Seattle's doing right now, guys. Can't wait for football. CFL action, too. The Ottawa Red Blacks, -3.5. Are you kidding me? They got PJ Walker probably starting for Calgary tonight, the former NFL player. But I can't lay 3.5 with those turkeys. I might have to take Calgary, even with a third-string quarterback. I don't care.
There you go. Nuggets all over the place here for our guy, Cam Stewart. By the way, 3 games in Major League Baseball tonight. Any looks tonight, Cam, on the early card for these 3?
Over in the Yankees game, I like the Mariners. I don't like the juice, Donnie. That's what I'm taking tonight.
There you go. Cam Stewart lining them up today. And also, guys, be wary. You get that trade deadline, the winners and the losers, the month of August. Ooh, that luxury tax goes up. If you want to take some of these favorites here, the dogs are still going to play. The dogs are still going to win. And you might even get some better prices on the dogs moving forward. But the key is, you better pick the right dogs out here. Cam Stewart, he's our dog right here on the early line, and certainly love to see him here bright and early on the Sports Grid Network. Down your right side, Joe Ranieri, Cam Stewart. What a nice little segment right there, getting the people going. Cam, thanks for joining us today. We hope to see you soon. We'll be right back after the break for more action in Major League Baseball.
If I have to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Like, just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus you got some guys at utility. Plus you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. The numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball trade deadline. It is today at 6 o'clock. You can't make it. Remember those moves back in the day that I want to talk about, Joe Ranieri, because at 6 o'clock you can't make any more deals. Don't you remember the waiver wire that went through the entire month of August, which was absolutely ridiculous? Like, okay, the trade deadline is here, but you could still get a superstar or two in the month of August. At least we don't have that anymore. Like, you know the team you're going to have on the field once you hit that trade deadline tonight, and maybe some big moves still to be made here. We thought Emmanuel Clase was going to be on the move from the Cleveland Guardians, but dude might be gambling on his own games or first pitches here. We don't know the seriousness of that or what the investigation outcome is going to be. He's probably going to stay. But Stephen Kwan, like, everybody can use a Stephen Kwan in their leadoff spot. A 300 hitter, contact guy with good speed. He could be on the move and make a difference. I've been hearing that the Padres might be in on it. I'm waiting to get in on the Padres. They just swept the Mets here. Give me another. Put Stephen Kwan in that lineup with Louis Arise. You have 2 300 hitters back-to-back to open it up. Oh, I would love it. I would love it if Kwan went out to the Padres, Joe.
Listen, there is still a lot to be determined and a whole lot of pitching also, because we know everyone wants pitching, but where does Sandy Alcantara go here, right? We just saw him pitch a pretty darn good game, right? Looks like he's getting a little bit more comfortable. We keep hearing Dylan Cease's name, keep hearing Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen. These are all household names, that guys that can actually really help teams make a push to the postseason. So I think between now and 6 o'clock Eastern time, Donnie, I think we're going to get a few more pretty big moves from some pretty big teams.
No doubt about it, because if you're going, if you think you can win it, you don't go half like, oh, let me just get a middling reliever here. Like, you add a bat, you add a starter, you add a major reliever, and you've seen some of the teams do it. Like that bullpen. Do we even need starting pitchers for the Mets? They should just go bullpen the entire playoffs here with how many guys they're stacking back there. The Phillies, who aren't going to have Alvarado for the playoff run, but we'll get him back in midway through August, now have Duran at the spot and say, you know what, we got that handled for the next couple of years. Do they make a move? Luis Robert has certainly been talked about by many franchises, a guy with unlimited talent, who last year was like, man, you got to get this guy. Oh, we're going to hold on to him. He's going to be the future of the White Sox. He's on the market, sure. Ozuna, a veteran bat in Atlanta. That team's going nowhere. He definitely is getting moved today. Ryan O'Hearn, a big bat in that Baltimore lineup, which has been so disappointing, even though the bats are really starting to come out to play right now. But interesting prospect. Is there a guy, like, do we have the surprise today, right? Do we have the guy that, oh, man, I didn't expect that guy to be on the market? We always get that, Joe, don't we?
Yeah, I always get it. And it's going to be very interesting we always get this too, Donnie, right? We always get that one name that we go, man, I didn't think he was available. Like, I didn't even think anybody was considering it. So I think, don't be shocked. And the name that I keep hearing is Mason Miller, the closer out of the Athletics. So maybe a team overpays and is willing to give the Athletics a pretty good jump start on their future in Vegas. So anything is possible over the next couple hours.
It's an absolute seller's market, and I'm so glad you brought up Mason Miller, because you take a look at Duran there for the Twins. They're not going anywhere. Like, closers, it's very rare turning to Mariano Rivera. Hey, I can give you 15 good years here of dominant closing. It's usually 1, 2 really good years. Ooh, what happened to that guy? It always happens. So Mason Miller is a devastatingly good closer. There's no point on having Mason Miller on the Athletics for the next 2 to 3 years. You're not winning anything. So why would you have a closer? You're supposed to build for the future by getting your starting pitcher in line, your 1 through 9. Then when it's time to win, oh yeah, let's find ourselves a closer. So Mason Miller staying with the Athletics because he's really good makes absolutely no sense to me, Joe, whatsoever.
I agree. I mean, again, this is a team in flux right now, the Athletics, playing in Sacramento. Don't know when that stadium is going to be done in Vegas. Who knows how many snags have to go through it in order to be able to get it there. But the reality is, Miller is under team control through 2029. I mean, this is still a young pitcher. You know, who would be willing to throw caution in a win and maybe overpay for him? You got to think the Padres are in that discussion, because they always overpay for people.
Exactly. And teams are always looking for starting pitching as well and overpay for that. Some other potential candidates on the move: Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Mackenzie Gore, Mitch Keller, Joe Ryan. You see some of those guys available that can help you out. Gore hasn't had a great season. Merrill Kelly's been solid. Zach Gallen looked like he was going to be one of those, okay, next 5 to 7 years, a top 15, top 20 pitcher across Major League Baseball. What happened to him? Maybe a change of scenery will do good, but also the Mitch Kellers of the world. You take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. The bad teams, they're moving starters to get prospects back for maybe a run in the next 1 to 2 years at this point. More changes will happen. There's no doubt about it. But tonight at 6 p.m., no more changes you're going to have. You'll know the exact Major League Baseball season team for the rest of your season here. Let's continue to talk Major League Baseball on a short Thursday card.
If I have to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of
Thank
Famer.
you.
I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Like, just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus you got some guys at utility. Plus you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. The numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Rolling along in Major League Baseball. Big day today, as we said numerous times. It is the trade deadline that is coming up tonight. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. More big-time trades will go down today, and fortifying teams that expect to make a run at the World Series, and also limit teams that expect to be heading into the draft with a better draft pick next year. Let me ask you this question, Joe, because we are handicappers, and the evolution of a Major League Baseball season is pretty stark. Opening up, don't really know who's good, who's bad, cold weather conditions. Then you start to filter into the haves and the have-nots by midsummer, and now we have the trade deadline, which means post-trade deadline, these organizations are letting know exactly what they think of their baseball teams moving forward, which means teams making trades like the Phillies, like the New York Mets, like the Los Angeles Dodgers. Those teams are looking to go all in, and every single game in the second half of the season will be important to them. But I want to talk also about the teams that are trading and giving away players here in rebuilding for the future. I always talk about the Yankee tax, like, no matter what, the Yankees are overpriced because everybody bets them. Maybe the same thing happens in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys, if you want to put that into that perspective. But how do you approach post-trade deadline? Because those dogs, maybe not fighting all that much for victories, but it's an individual sport. No pitcher's going to go out there and say, we stink, so I just want to stink myself. No closer's going out there going, let me just blow this game because it doesn't mean anything. No hitter, Joe, is going to go up to the plate and say, let me just strike out because the season doesn't matter anymore. How do we approach dogs in the month of August?
Well, we've talked about one such team that we said, listen, they have to be bet against. The signs are there. And that was the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Donnie, quite honestly, I don't know how we don't continue to focus in on them. If we're going to get that Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are also traded by 6 p.m., with this team's morale has got to be in the dumps. They keep getting blown out. They're not scoring any runs. There is always that one or two teams that underperformed this year, and in turn the organization said, we're going to blow it up now, we're going to get rid of everyone, and that is usually just a nail in the coffin for some of these teams. And Arizona could very well play out the string with absolutely no no motivation whatsoever to put in maximum effort. And we'll see that again, I think, starting tomorrow.
No doubt about it. And also understand this. Like, we do have Major League Baseball games today, which we're going to hit in the next segment. There's only 3 games, but also when you take a look at those 3 games, right? Early game, 1 p.m., Yankees and Tampa Bay. Both of those teams probably going to be in on some trades and certainly trying to make some moves. Who's going to be available there? You take a look at Atlanta and Cincinnati. That's a 7:10 start just after the deadline. Who knows when those lineup cards are actually going to be given out because of the changes we expect in Atlanta. Not so much from the starting line for Cincinnati. They're looking to add more than sell. And then you have the game late night tonight, Texas and Seattle. Do we have Eugenio Suarez in that lineup for that game that's going to start 9:40 Eastern, 6:40 out on the Pacific Coast? So a lot of different things and options here. And as I talk about the month of August, as opposed to the month of April, minus 135, minus 140 prices, they go 15 to 20 cents higher because why? We don't want to bet as the public on a team that's dead in the water. Do you guys get joy out of betting like the Colorado Rockies on a day-to-day basis? Do you feel they're going to fight for you in a 4-4 game in the 8th inning? But you have to separate and compartmentalize that stuff because understanding they're professionals. They get paid on what they do at the plate and they do in the field. They'll still be trying, but sometimes getting through that mental block, if you will, to say, boy, how am I taking the Rockies today going up against the Dodgers? Well, because they're getting plus 340 in this game, and you might have an added advantage. So just keep an eye on that as it moves forward. The other eyes we're going to keep on, and maybe we get price point changes, Joe. And what I'm talking about is the World Series odds in Major League Baseball moving forward. The favorites are there today, of course. It's the Dodgers, it's the Phillies, it's the Mets. But how about the Phillies jumping back up into that second slot after getting an all-star closer, a stud closer, I should say, from Minnesota? Do we see any more line movement tonight, Joe, up to the deadline where people start to factor in and go, okay, this is the team I have moving forward now?
Yeah, listen, I think you can't help but to look at a team like, let's say, Seattle, who now for the first time to its fan base, Donnie, has actually invested and is making moves to actually make this team better down the stretch. You got to believe that the energy inside that locker room with that players and organization and fan base at home against a division rival coming up over the weekend, Donnie, has got to be through the roof. On the flip side, you got to look at an Atlanta team, for instance, that is now going, we might lose 100 games here this year. And quite honestly, who cares? We lost Acuna again. Like, what are we doing here? Watching some of these teams play really exciting baseball because the organization is backing them and they feel like we're all on the same page. And then you've got teams like in Atlanta and Arizona where you just watch the wheels fall off game by game with them. And the market, there's going to be a small opportunity to jump in because the market's not going to adjust right off the bat. But I can promise you, those two teams, those numbers are moving quickly the other way.
By the way, big news here in Major League Baseball. It's going to flow all day long. We're seeing the Blue Jays just acquired Shane Bieber from the Cleveland Guardians. So adding to the prospect here for Toronto. Just had Cam talking about and trying to track to see what Toronto was going to do the rest of the way. They made a move. But how about this? We talked about the Houston Astros, Joe. That's one team you want to watch. Ooh, Isaac Paredes, pretty good move coming over from Tampa Bay. How about this news? The Astros are now bracing themselves to be without third baseman Isaac Paredes for 6 to 7 months. Joe, with a torn hamstring. The hope is that he's ready to go by 2020. Now, hold on now with this. Like, I understand it's Bob Nightingale, and sometimes you follow Bob Nightingale. It's like, I don't understand this tweet or where it's going at this, but understand this. A hamstring so bad they're not sure he's ready for opening day? What? Did his leg fall off? What happened?
Nuts. The problem, and even then, Donnie, the problem with a hamstring injury is that the only real cure for it is that you can't do, like, you have to leave it alone. Like, it's got to kind of heal on its own. And if it's that severe, oh my goodness, you'd be lucky to get him to go there. So not a good situation for the Astros at all, but I think they ended up getting Urias, I think, as a kind of a backup situation there also to try and add some depth because they know he's done. If you're thinking 7 months with a hamstring, oh my goodness, Astros, yikes.
I mean, did a shark bite him and like tear his hamstring where they have to like repair, make a new hamstring? I don't know if I've ever heard that. Like, I've heard injuries to hamstrings that are serious, but when you're talking about, look, it's August, September, October, November, December, January, February, and March. Like, that's 8 months right there. You could have an ACL tear and be back in 8 months. I don't know if I've ever heard of, because I was expecting to say he's down 6 to 7 weeks. 6 to 7 more days, 7 to 8 months here on a hamstring injury there. That certainly puts a wrinkle in the plans because the Astros are 12-1. But you know what I say? When you head up to the deadline, what's better, Joe? Get this news tomorrow morning or have this news now where you can actually say, all right, well, we didn't anticipate having Paredes out of the lineup for the rest of the season. Let's go make a move, which is why they're talking about Carlos Correa, bringing him in for more firepower and waiting on Jordan Alvarez to get back in that lineup. So interesting stuff coming down. If it looks like a minor trade, I should say a minor trade, Bieber's for a couple minor league prospects back. That's a pretty good move for Toronto. I like that move, Joe.
Yeah, and again, it's not for now. I mean, obviously, Bieber was hurt preseason, so this is all going to head moving forward. And why not? Having the ability to have Bieber healthy to start a season should be very interesting for Toronto, who's made the investment and is looking towards the future. And kudos to them. Bieber, one of the best pitchers. It reminds me a lot of the old Greg Maddux mold. Going, how is this guy striking guys out? Like, how is he this good? And he throws the ball like 89, 91 miles an hour. Like, how does this even happen? That is a great guy to have in the rotation moving forward. The future for Toronto could be very bright here.
Looks like Cal Steven goes back to the Guardians. The Blue Jays get Shane Bieber. If he catches some lightning in a bottle, can only help that pitching staff. Like the move for Toronto as they try to hang on and win that AL East. You take a look at the Toronto Blue Jays if you want to pick them to win the World Series, Joe, 13-1 price, along with the Chicago Cubs as well. The Detroit Tigers are hanging there at a plus 950. The Tigers are in town this weekend to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. So a monster battle there for a team fighting for first place in the Phillies and a team currently in first place here for the Detroit Tigers. We are going to handicap some Major League Baseball coming up next. Only 3 games on the card. We were spoiled on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with so many games, but a lot shortened card. And by the way, Major League Baseball making the good decision. It's the deadline. Get teams in order. Full slate Friday, and away you go. It's Joe Ranieri and Donnie Right Side right here on the early line. And we'll be right back to talk more Major League Baseball breakdown.
I have to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Like, just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus, you got some guys at utility. Plus, you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. The numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, the fun never ends on the early line here. When we talk Major League Baseball and trade deadline, always a lot of fun. A lot more trades are going down, but that's why we love it. Social media, we're always active on it. We got that Bieber trade right out of the gate here. Certainly more trades throughout the day. Make sure you keep it on SportsGrid to get all the latest on all the hottest topics, which does include, obviously, the trade deadline and a little NFL action tonight. But before we get to the NFL action, 3 games on the Major League Baseball card today, and they blessed us with 1 game, Joe, in the afternoon. That's in the Bronx. 9:01, 9:02 on the rotation, 1:05 start. Tampa Bay taking on New York. It's Pepio versus Stroman. The line in this game opened up overnight, roughly a -120 in that range. It now sits as -118, even as low as -110, 110 splits on both sides between Tampa and New York. The total in this game opened up at 8.5, still sits at 8.5. Early day baseball in the Bronx, Joe. What are we thinking today?
Yeah, give me the Yankees here. I'm going to live dangerously once again because, listen, you and I have talked about it, and the last couple of times out since Stroman has come off that IL stint, I mean, he's allowed 3 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 starts. He has been absolutely serviceable here for this Yankees team, and they've done a pretty good job with him. So whatever he figured out coming off the IL has worked here. I tend to think that runs are also coming in this game, though, in an afternoon, a hot afternoon game. Would not shock me at all if we get more than, 8.5 still, Donnie, somewhere in that ballpark? To me, the Yankees and the over is the way I'll be looking here. Is they really, even without Aaron Judge, McMahon has been a blessing for this team, both defensively and offensively. I think they got a good shot here to win this series.
And he's a lefty. He got nice balance, man. I love when you always have a lot of left-handed batters that you can certainly mix in. 87 degrees, Joe, at first pitch. Light wind blowing in from center field, 7 to 8 miles an hour. Shouldn't make all that much of a difference. But looking at Pepio, he's been very good over the past 30 days against right-handed batters. But you're getting a lot of lefties and a lot of anticipated. Gresham, Rice, Bellinger, Chisholm. That's 4 right there. 5 in Dominguez, 6 if we include McMahon, and 7 with Wells. 7 on down from the left-hand side. And last night you saw, hey, stone cold under late in the game in a smaller ballpark. Yeah, they started cranking home runs out left and right late there. So maybe we get more runs than anticipated today. That's what I would like. But if you're looking from a Yankees perspective for me, give me some of those left-handed batters in that lineup. Game number 2 tonight, 7:10 start, 9:03, 9:04. That's Atlanta and Cincinnati. Carrasco off the scrap heap. He actually had a couple good minor league starts, now back in Major League Baseball. But a team that looks like they're dead in the water, probably won't have multiple starters in the lineup tonight because they're probably going to get traded before the deadline. Abbott, Carrasco, that's why you have a heavy favorite. You're going to see a graphic pop up that's at -156 on the TV side. It was 146 overnight. You know where it sits now at some outlets? -175. That's the thought process. Atlanta, horrible yesterday. Didn't score on the road. Trade deadline day. Ozuna's probably out of there. Can you take Atlanta contrarian? I tried to be contrarian at the plate yesterday because I like the matchup. They didn't score, even in extra innings. Ugh.
Not even remotely close. This is a team worth fading now, like we mentioned, and continuing to fade here. They're 45-62 here. They are 19-36 on the road. They are 3-9 since the All-Star break. They lost their best player and leader in Ronald Acuna Jr. He is out. And they've got to go up with one of the best lefties that is going right now with Andrew Abbott, who has been basically almost unhittable at home this year. You're going to sign guys like Eric Fetty and Carlos Carrasco off the scrap heap. Yeah, no, I am going to go the other way. I think Cincinnati wins, and they win big here.
You're so right. And you open up tomorrow, Atlanta won 4-2. Well, of course, like bad baseball teams win games. But when you're talking about that psychological lift and downfall, like Cincinnati is adding on. They're excited. Atlanta got on a plane last night and didn't know who was even going to get off the plane once they landed. And now have a game tonight with a scrap heap starter. And you're still trying to mix in if you're going to let relievers go today at the deadline, which means who's going to be available in the bullpen, who's going to be in the starting lineup, Marcell Ozuna, yes or no. The crazy part is they have good numbers, the Braves, over the past month against left-handed pitching. But you saw that yesterday. They stunk yesterday, which was, oof, I still can't get over that one, but it's the way it is. Tonight, nightcap, 9:40 tonight. So if you're up late, you're watching a little NFL football, tune in. This could be a good one. Texas taking on Seattle in Seattle, a battle of the AL West. 9:05, 9:06 on the rotation. And if we look at the lines here, -152s overnight. As high now as -175s to -180s in favor of the Seattle Mariners. Rocker's on the mound. Kirby's the better pitcher, but that's a good-looking lineup for Texas. A really good-looking lineup tonight for the Mariners, and we'll see if Suarez is in that. a total only of 7.5. That's what you get up at T-Mobile. Rocker versus Kirby today. Heavy favor for Seattle. That's really on the move now.
This is a big game for Seattle, and they've got all the momentum and all the excitement here because ownership has decided they're investing in this team. They think they have a shot. For the first time in a very long time, the Seattle Mariners are going out and making moves to give themselves a chance to actually win a World Series and an American League pennant. Kirby in this one hasn't faced the Rangers yet this year, I believe. But last year, he was flat out dominant against them, 3-0 with a 0.95 ERA. Texas, not great on the road, and neither is Kumar Rocker. I think he's got almost a 10 ERA on the road this year. It feels like, at least in this first game, the Mariners have everything going their way. Not sure I want to step in front of that right now.
Look at this lineup now. Like again, years and years go by. Seattle, get a bat in that lineup. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Look at the anticipated lineup tonight, 1 through 9, Joe. J.P. Crawford leads off. Julio Rodriguez, number 2. Cal Raleigh, number 3. Eugenio Suarez, number 4. Josh Naylor, 5. Randy Rosarena, 6. Jorge Polanco, 7. Dominic Canzone, 8. You got to be like this lineup with just throwing a couple extra bats in here. Looks like a buy-in lineup every night, but yet we still play in the Pacific Northwest and hanging a total there of 7.5. You look at the Rangers lineup heading into tonight. Josh Smith, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia. Peterson's back in that lineup now. Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, Josh Jung, Jonah Heim. This is as good lineups as you're going to get on a Major League Baseball card, and we still only get 7.5. Why? Well, you got George Kirby on the mat. He's a strikeout machine. He's got low ISOs against, low weighted on base percentages against. Kumar Rocker is there. Maybe 140-ish, 150-ish. You like Seattle? It sort of gets tough there. But also, let me ask this question, Joe. If you took a flyer on contrarian teams, if you went Atlanta and Texas, both big-time plus money, do you come out ahead tonight? Right? Do you?
I think you got a better shot with Texas than you do Atlanta. I think the white flag is up, folks.
I mean, Atlanta, what goodness, man. I like their team total yesterday. They didn't score a run, people. My goodness. Bye. Okay.
If I have to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Like, just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus, you got some guys at utility. Plus, you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. The numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's actually not a bad little Major League Baseball card today for 3 games. You have some intrigue. Yankees and Tampa Bay facing off here. Good weather conditions. Maybe you do get some runs at night. You have an AL West battle. But in the meantime, you do have Atlanta and Cincinnati. We don't know where Atlanta is going to be headspace-wise coming into this baseball game, which is why that price is running on the Cincinnati Reds. But we do have some other topics. Before we give out our best bets, Joe, let's date ourselves right now. 1966, it says that Dwight D. Eisenhower put in the physical fitness test. It has been adjusted over the past couple decades and no longer really in public schools. But it looks like this could be coming back. And the question to me is, if you did a presidential physical fitness test right now, how would you do? But more importantly, Joe, do you remember those tests way back in the day?
Donnie, I am lucky I remember what I had for dinner last night, but I can tell you this, and there might be a few reasons for that, but I will say this, I am fairly certain I should be able to, at this point, be able to complete the physical fitness test if you gave me a few chances to get it done. That's all I'll say. Just I need a couple of goes at it.
Yeah, timing-wise, probably not. Like, I'm sure I can make it through a mile. I don't know what that time would be. I know I can do a pull-up, or at least I can try to do a pull-up. I know I can do a push-up. I know I can do a sit-up. I can do the shuttle run. It might cost me a hamstring like Isak Paredes, and I can do the sit and reach, and I don't know how far past that box I can go, if I can even get past that box without having a heart attack. But I think everybody out there used to, like, dating ourselves, the presidential, and I think you got like a certificate or like a ribbon if you actually qualified for it, I want to say. Like, you know, like the auto pen or the fake script from the president. Like, hey, congratulations, you passed this. And like, I don't know, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, whatever it was.
That was your PE class. Like, you needed to complete that in order to be able to get a passing grade in physical education here. So yeah, I think it's good. Run a mile. I can drive a mile, Donnie. Is that the same thing? Can we do that? We just hop in the golf cart and we're off and running.
Just get on an e-bike, whatever gets you through it. But that looks like it's coming back in. I'm sure the kids of today will love that. Like, I got to do pull-ups in school. Get with the program here. Get it together. Because you know what we're doing next, Joe? We're going to let the people know about some bye. I had a disgraceful performance yesterday. Joe Ranieri hit the winner yesterday. We have 2 more picks on dock today. Where are we going, Joe? Give the people something they can chew on today to win some money on once again. You're on a heater right now. Keep up the good vibes.
I am not messing around, not overthinking it, Donnie. And right now, Atlanta is a must-sell team in every way, shape, or form. However, you don't want to be running out there laying $170. I get it. Somewhere in that, it's probably going to continue the rise. So instead, when you tell me that this week you've had to sign Eric Fetty off the scrap heap, now you had to go out and sign Carlos Carrasco just to be able to get a starting pitcher because your entire rotation is hurt, then yeah, this season is over. I love Abbott. He has been basically unhittable at home. I'm going to lay the half a run in the first 5, make it manageable. I believe the Reds will have no problem scoring runs. I don't think Atlanta scores any runs, quite honestly, against Abbott in the first 5. I like that price. I like that angle.
It feels like it's like 7, like say it's under the total, but it's like 7-2 with Cincinnati tonight. Again, follow along to see who's in that starting lineup tonight for the Atlanta Braves. It might look desolate by the time we get there, but it is what it is. For me, I am going to lay a -170 price on a preseason football game. Donnie, what are you, an idiot? You don't even know what's going to happen in this game. I'm trying to find narratives around a good story. The Detroit Lions. What would happen to them tonight, Joe, if they score 6 points by 2 field goals? Well, nothing really in the regular season. You're waiting for that. But a new offensive coordinator wants to put his foot down. I don't mean score 44 points, run double reverses and fake punts. I don't mean any of that, but just be competent tonight. And also, Hendon Hooker, athletic quarterback, Kyle Allen behind him. Those 2 guys are going to be in there. I'm asking for 1 Detroit touchdown pass. It doesn't matter any way, shape, or form it happens or who throws it here. Yes, it's expensive. No, don't put the mortgage down on this. Yes, we'll be cheering on bets tonight. But you got to be kidding me. If you tell me the Lions score 2 touchdowns tonight, which is only 14 points, one of those, Joe, should be via the touchdown, and that's what I'm looking for. The extra add-ons here, right? Offensive coordinator wants to get a couple tutties on the board for a good start and good morale, right?
I'm with you. I will be watching it tonight, Donnie, and I'll be rooting on that touchdown pass. Let's get it done tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on the rest of the day on that Fade the Public poll where people will not be watching. I guarantee you on my timeline tonight, it's going to be not going to be loaded up with Major League Baseball late night, even though it's a pretty good baseball game. About the NFL tonight, people, and tomorrow we'll recap what happened in that NFL game. Enjoy the rest of your day. Sonny Rightside and Joe Ranieri. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow.